Meriwether County Board of Commission meeting for July 10th. Welcome everyone. At this time, I'd like everyone to stand for invocation. Heavenly Father, we come thanking you for our many blessings. We want to thank you for the opportunity to gather today to do the business of Meriwether County. We ask that you watch over us and guide us in our decisions that we make today for the betterment of this county and the citizens in this county. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we adopt the agenda, understand there needs to be an adjustment made. We need to add on another item under new business, and it will be item number 8. Is a resolution authorizing volunteer and elected officials to be covered by the ACCG group self-insurance work compensation. Repealing, this is a resolution that ACCG is asking the county to provide. So can I get a motion that we add this to the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And so at this time, so we've already adopted, so we're adopted for that. Okay, the minutes for June 25th regular meeting at 6 p.m. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read over those minutes. Excuse me. And can I get a motion that we accept the minutes as presented?
I'll move we accept them as presented.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, there's been a motion to accept the minutes as presented for June the 25th and a second. At this time, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We had a special call meeting on July the 22nd. You should have those minutes as well. And I need a motion that we accept the minutes from the special call meeting. So moved. Okay, is there a second? Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second.
And that's for July 2nd, not
July
22nd.
July 2nd. I thought I said the 2nd. I apologize. So July the 2nd. All right. Is there any other? At this time, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is municipal comments. So at this time, I'd like to recognize there's several here today. I see the city manager for Woodbury, Doug. Manchester. I don't know why I keep saying that. I apologize.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate that. Mayor of Luthersville.
Good morning. I don't think we say these words enough, but I just want to thank the county and everybody that works here for all they do, not only to help the county, but also to support these small cities. So I know a lot of times what we do goes unappreciated, but let me know that I want to let y'all know that I certainly do.
Thank you.
Your spot.
Mayor Glover from Brimble.
Good morning. They stole all of my words. You know, words do have power. And I'm trying real hard to use mine in a positive way. So I just want to thank the county for especially helping me run this past week with trying to get the degree of all of the negative stuff that I was made aware of on social media. At first I took it real personal. I'll just be honest. And then I had to, try to remember Sunday school lessons and stuff. Trying to see, you gotta do this a little different, y'all. You don't go there. So I didn't go there. But I do appreciate the help that the county has given me, and even promise that they'll give me a little more. So on behalf of the city of Greenwood and all of the citizens, thank you all so much for what you've done for me.
And I see our Mr. Cuddy from the city of Luthersville just want to recognize you as well. Thank you. Well, to our cities, it takes an effort on everybody's part. None of this work can be done solo. You get a lot more done when you work together. So It is our privilege and an opportunity for all of us to work together. We get a lot more accomplished, so we appreciate the work that you all do with us and what we do with you as well. So we've got a lot ahead of us, and it's going to take teamwork to get it done. So thank you all for your comments. Moving on to our Constitution officers and any comments. Don't see anyone. I don't want to overlook anyone. Thank you. Moving on now to our department heads. I know we have several of them here today, so you want me to call you or are you going to just volunteer? Thank you, Brent.
I'm going to be very brief though. Skip, can you bring our website up, please? As you guys know, I'm working on a new website. That's still going. It's slow going. There's a lot of content, lots of hours. But one thing that, did you have a chance to look at the, okay. So, right now we have what's called a roadwork request. I was actually successfully able to kind of convert that into a overall citizen request app. And basically, you'll see it right there. It's in the upper or the right-hand corner there.
Looks like a phone.
Looks like a phone, says service request on it. If you click on that, you see it. Citizen service request.
The big phone.
Yeah, it's an iPhone, that right? Okay, so as soon as it comes up, basically what this used to be was just the roadwork request. For so many years we were using it just for roadwork requests, but there's so many things that I'm sure the average citizen would like to report and like to have the ability to do so online. And I don't know why it's not coming up. It came up fine last night. Okay, there we go. So here, and this is something we really can't get around. We could turn this off where somebody can have the option to create an account, but if we do so, then people don't really have the ability to interact with what's happening. If they choose to set up an account, then they can actually go back in and see the progress of whatever their issue that the reported is. Notes can be made on this on the back end by various people, but the biggest thing that we've done now is just go in as a guest. Right there at the bottom, there you go. No, that's creative. Should be on there, going and sign up as guest. Can you scroll all the way down? There's the bottom. No, sorry, that's it, huh? Well, anyway, it should have the option to sign in as guest. For some reason there's not. I'll find out why that is. Just going with Google, I guess, at this point. So it's kind of funny this is acting all buggy at this point. Hey, look, there's that. Just do the shoulder. Okay. For some reason, I don't know why it is, and I'll call him and find out why not. You should be able to go in as a guest. And when you go in as a guest, you'll have a drop down basically that you can choose several different items, anywhere from a road to a stop sign down to an animal control issue to sky's the limit. And each one of those, you're actually able to assign that to a specific person's email. Now, the way we have it set up right now is if they choose you as their commissioner, you'll get a copy of the email. Well, the same thing's said for each individual item. That department head would get a copy of that email, and then from that point forward would be responsible for handling it if it actually does fall under them. There is a actual system, a grid that shows you all of the calls and all of the requests that come in and what they're related to and so forth. And that's where I'm at right now. I was there late last night working this. I don't know why it's not coming up, because I went through it and tested it last night, but this is through the company iWorks. Any questions?
So this is going to combine the road and everything else? I don't agree with that.
I think the roads are such a big issue in the county that we need a particular one for that, and then we can have other requests. And I think that makes more sense to me than have it all combined into one, because we may lose a lot in a lot.
Okay.
So on this, when you go in, you can put roads. So that creates a particular, that'll go to that commissioner or to that department head.
Actually, anything, as far as roads or any of those items, if you select your commissioner, that issue would go to that commissioner as
We
well.
get that now. So if there's a dead animal, then it will go to Public Works, but then in turn that can go over to.
Well, I mean, there's between a dead animal on the road, that's going to be a Public Works issue. A dead animal that's chained to a tree somewhere, that would be definitely an animal control issue.
And what about debris or dumping on roads?
Illegal dumping, now that would go to building and zoning.
Okay. So what it will do, will give us a more overview of what our big issues are other than roads. You can also see, and then it'll allow us to see what part of the county we're having the most concerns or the most issues in.
The other thing too, it's got on there's a frequently asked questions thing too that we can actually turn on and put in there. And what that actually does, it helps identify what are the top main questions people have about certain things, and it's actually designed to decrease telephone traffic through whatever the various departments as far as that goes.
And where did this request come from? How did we determine that there was a request to do something more and move forward?
Well, I think Ms. Hines has been talking about it in every meeting for, about 3 or 4 months now.
I have a question. Do I understand it right for the record that the citizen would actually choose where they want this to go?
Yes.
This information to go, so...
No, they won't choose
have to
what
select-
department or where to go. They choose what the problem is, and the problem is linked to the particular department.
Already linked,
Yes.
so it will go to the commissioner and the department.
If they choose the commissioner, and that's responsible for that in that district.
So it will not, right now it goes to the department head and the commissioner, but you're saying if they just choose commissioner, it just go directly to that commissioner?
No, they don't have the option to choose a department head, okay? The problem that they select is linked to that department head, or that department. So if I say, my issue is, a dog that's chained to a tree somewhere, I would select animal services, and then I would describe, my neighbor has his dog chained to his tree, he has no water, no shelter, blah, blah, blah. Then under that has location. Okay, you got it back. Okay, so like this right here, animal services. Then it says describe the problem in detail. What's the problem? My neighbor has his dog chained to the tree. Location, and here you have the opportunity to either type in an address or describe in detail where this is, their name, phone number, and then here with the commissioner, if they select this under commissioner, if they know who their commissioner is or who the commissioner of that district, they'll get a copy of that complaint.
Can you do all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We can actually tie that in at the top as well, if they so choose to.
And that was my concern, Brent. If they have to choose us in order for us to get a copy of it, then anything that is under, if we're going to leave it like this, then anything under roads needs to be linked to all commissioner emails.
It's already like this. You don't get a copy
They have
of
to
everyone's.
choose.
They have to choose, yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, we can make it so every commissioner gets a copy of every road complaint there is. That's very easy to do.
And did we still address the issue that once this is done, that there's some kind of automatic reply back to those who submit this, that we have received your request or
If
your
they create an
concern?
account.
But if they come in as a visitor, it does not? Okay, so
No, we have no idea of knowing who they are.
okay.
Okay, something though that we'll have to really make sure we do, if we do this, and I like the idea of citizens being able to ask questions, complaints, we gotta make darn sure we respond.
Yeah.
You know, because that's gonna be on us then, because the last thing we need is 50 complaints coming in or questions or whatever, and then the citizens don't get and I'm talking about more than just we received your complaint or your concern or whatever action or whatever. So it's gonna put some work on whoever receives those to make sure it's followed up on.
Well, that's where it kind of divides it out amongst the different departments, you know.
Like I said, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I like them being able to do that. And like I said, it may cut down on some of the phone calls
It does.
we get as well as the departments, but like I said, it's gonna be very important that we all follow up on whatever is sent in.
Well, this kind of takes all the social media bashing.
I don't
To
think
where-
you'll ever stop that, but.
No, I understand that, but, you know, some people, you know, can be quite cruel on social media, and basically because they don't have nothing better to do than sit in a chair and blast people on social media, when they really don't understand what's going on. But going back to what I was saying, is what this will actually do is it kind of gives them a route where if they do have an actual legitimate problem, other than just a road, you know, I called the shelter 3 times a day and nobody answered. Or I called building and zoning 6 times and they kept saying that somebody was out to lunch. Well, this gets their issue through that. And then there's a record of it, that's the big thing.
Well, even if they sign in as a guest and they don't create an account, is there a way to make it mandatory to have a contact back to that person and to assign a reference number to each case?
There is a reference number that's automatically assigned, and it gives you that when you come out. But I added an email to that, and then also a phone number.
Can it be one of those that you have to fill in? You cannot leave.
I can either have them both mandatory or neither of them mandatory. The field one just has a mandatory on or off.
I think you'd have to have one.
I would agree too, for talking to Sue, when she gets this request, she has no means of contact if they're not registered.
Yeah.
Or if they're not registered and they're just doing it as a guest, she has no means.
That's why I included at least the email contact, because he's right. A lot of times they'll just go in there and put it on there and they don't leave their phone number or, now that came up years ago, if Miss Hadley, you recall, this came up years ago, but we didn't want to keep people from doing it, so we made that optional, you know.
If you got your
Everybody don't have.
But you have no way to get back with them if you don't have that. And if they're not willing to put their name on it, then maybe they don't need to be calling in anyway. You know what I mean?
Mr. Bray just brought up, she said that not everybody has an email address.
We got phones
So
though.
the phone number, everybody has the phone number, so the phone number.
So we can make the phone mandatory.
But I think also to put on here, if they don't want to do this, if they are concerned about some feedback or something negative toward them and they do want to do it, then have it in there, maybe in red or something to where it states, if you do not wish to move forward at this point, please reach out to either the county or your commissioner and list the commissioners with their email address or what have you, so they can reach out to us individually if they don't want something posted. Because there's got to be a lot of people that aren't going to trust that if they have something that they feel is going to be pushed back on them.
Is that posted for the public to see or just to the offices?
No, it's for the public.
So they can read everybody's and say everything?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. No, that's just the back end, that's just us.
Just the back end.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, we have this in place, you always want to enhance any opportunities you can get to keep people engaged. This also works, it cuts down a certain amount of call volume for that department, and it also gives us a paper trail. For me, on a personal basis, I encourage people to do this, and then when I get it, I contact the individuals. It gives me an idea of who I'm getting a lot of calls from, what section of the county we're getting calls from, and whether there's repeat issues that comes up. I think the only thing that I've heard is, once again, just knowing that they've received it, that we've received it. So as long as we're able to reply back and let people know we have received their requests, I mean, I think it's a great idea. It allows us to, once again, stay engaged. And everyone now is doing so much electronically, you know, and
Well, additionally to that, there's also another feature that we have the option to add, and that's the texting the problem in. And basically what they do is they assign a phone number to the county. And basically what you do is you would text to that phone number. There's a series of code words, kind of like you do with your bank. Any of y'all use your bank texting or any of that? Like a code, and that would be reference to a code violation. Then it'll start texting you a set of questions. You answer those questions. It's like 3 steps, basically. And basically what that does is that will actually enter into the system your complaint via text message, not just an app, but text message. Because doing some of the research to this, they found that less and less people want to add another app to their phone, and the majority of apps that are added to people's phones are only used twice anyway. So there is actually an app for this.
Click it and fix it.
Huh?
Is that the one that's click it?
No, this is actually a different company. This is iWorks. This is still the company that we use, that we have. And all this is basically is just, we were able to modify the actual form that we already have, you know, the system we already have to this. But they have another feature in there where it's a text, the problem sort of thing, because, you know, nowadays everybody does everything by text message. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was one of those ones that went kicking and screaming into the, you know, technological age about texting everything. So,
Like I said, I think it's a good idea. We'll just need to do a good job of promoting it so people know it's available. You know, but there's ways we can do that also.
I guess right now what I need is maybe just how y'all feel about this. I mean, Commissioner Craig,
I'm okay with it, I just don't want them to get lost, because roads are so important in the county, and that's one of our biggest complaints. I just don't want it to get lost in translation, or looking forward. I do think it's a good idea, I wish it had been discussed with all of us before it was created.
No, I mean, everything that I've done can go right back to
No, I'm just saying, I wish it had been discussed with all of us first. But I don't want roads to get lost, I'm okay with it. I just want to see if there are any issues with roads not getting done, if we go with this, compared to where we're at now.
Also to bring us into all fall retention.
Well, that's the point of having the system, because that
What
will
was the
actually...
question?
This will also have to follow the retention, Georgia retention schedule.
Oh, okay.
On anything we get in, the length of time that we can keep it, and who destroys
Let me
it.
just reiterate, this is already a system in place, so if there was ever a retention issue, there would still be a retention issue, but there's not. This is part of the reason why this system, they do what they do, how they do it, they deal with governments, and they know that retention is important. So this is actually something that is able to be retained.
So basically what you're saying is this is something we're already doing. All you have done is enhanced it and allow some other options to be provided
That's
to
it.
the citizens.
I like it. All we do is try. Might be some bugs to work out here and
Exactly.
there.
And
Won't
then
know
there's going to
till
be
you try.
any ideas that y'all have to add something to it, you know, because I basically went to other counties that use it and just kind of took some of the ones they use, and, but I mean, you know, we can put anything on there and we can direct it in any direction. And that's what's nice about it is you can actually kind of filter out who gets what, you know, things like that. And this actually, I will say this actually was a couple requests on social media about having the ability to do this, so.
I do think we have to be careful with certain situations that could be dangerous, like if there's a tree down that's taking down power lines, if they just put it in there.
Yep.
And this is a dangerous situation based on this, please contact so-and-so.
It does say if it's an emergency, call 911, but, you know, that doesn't matter. I mean, we get stuff on Facebook all the time that says, you know, hey, there's a tree down on such and such road, and we just happen to see it, but.
Yeah, but like just making a contact mandatory, I think, would be the only thing that I would say.
We can do that. We can do that.
So we can, you know, correspond.
Thank you so much for updating us on
And
that.
I didn't mean to take this long, but.
That's okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
I thought it was going to be brief.
Sean, so you don't have to ask.
Mine is going to be real quick. I just want to let everybody know, first of all, Commissioner, a great deal, we did get a new truck, it's a 9 truck that's now back. We're waiting on the new box to come in for it now. We're very excited, ready to get on the road. We're taking in 48 animals already this month. Y'all, please, if you have animals at home, give us spay and neuter so we don't keep getting so many puppies and kittens in. And if you don't have an animal at home, come see us on a doctor.
Thanks, Michelle.
I don't have any, sir.
Okay, thank you, Patty. Bill?
Trail, Madam Chairman, for the questions, Trail wasn't able to be here today, so I'm gonna do some reporting for him as well. But, some of the numbers for the month of June that are interesting, like our boom axe, we're still only operating one, but he's completed 5 roads in June, compared to last year, 4. I mean, last year in June, 4 roads. Grass cutting, which has made quite an increase. They've done 71 roads in the month of June compared to 36 last year in June, which I think is a great achievement. The new tractor, I think, has helped quite a bit. And then we had another truck that was repaired. I think it was in a repair shop all summer last year, and it's out there and running. Motor grader has done 18 roads in the month of June. I think that's low because of the amount of rain we've had through June, but compared to last year in June, they only did 13, and for the first 6 months of this year, which is really probably 3 months, they've done 135 roads compared to a grand total of 132 last year. So this makes a significant increase. So that number will increase and get much larger. So that little change just makes a lot of difference in getting the road straight. Patching, they did 22 roads compared to 1 of last year. They've done 159 so far in the first 6 months compared to 153 of the 12 months of last year. And that poplar patcher was down a good bit last year. I had to replace. And one other interesting note, they've done 27 tree calls this month compared to 12 of last year this time. Total of 73 for the first 6 months this year.
And Bill, I actually had George Power go out to Mitchell Cove Road yesterday, and cut down a big pine tree that was over the power line, sitting on the embankment leaning over, and it wasn't there 2 days ago. So they cut it down, but they left all the debris in the ditch on Mitchell Cove.
Cove?
Mitchell Cove.
Mitchell Cove, okay. Report on staffing, the board approved new positions earlier in the year. He got up to within 2 of the total number approved, and he's now lost an employee, I think a week ago. It's down 4. So that's just kind of where they are and looking for some more help.
So, the 2 that we lost were
Well, we lost 1 and one of the motor grader guys left. And then he thought he had a mechanic, and that didn't work out, so he's down 4. A special projects operator right-of-way guy, 1 boom axe, but we only have 1 boom axe operating now, so that's not a big loss. And then the operator. So that's just struggling to try to find help. And Cove Road's been open to local traffic on gravel. It's looking really good down there. He's gonna try to get to a point to get it paved pretty soon. The surface treatment on our LMIG contracts, they're on Forest Road, working, trying to complete that. It's on Gold Mine, Kenny Nelson, they're working on that. They did the parking lot in Warm Springs just recently. They completed that.
On that yesterday.
They've got to get it striped stuff. And then Crawford grading, they're working on the bridge on Rocky Mount Road. It's looking good. They're making speedy progress on that. They've got the bridge up on one end and should be completing the second end, raising that bridge. We're going to get some good clearance. We only had about a foot of clearance underneath the beams. We're going to have about 4 feet now, and that's going to be a big improvement on that. And then the Lake Meriwether projects, we're getting close to completing the ADA. Just struggling a little bit on that one too.
I do have a question for you, yes. They're back on Forest Road and Tenny Nelson putting the sand down. I noticed that there was not a lot of signage before you get to that section where they were doing it. And, sometimes it kind of catches people off guard when you're doing it. Is there just any way we can just request that there more signage out, that they're working on that road or that part of the road?
I can write out and check to see if they've got the amount, the proper amount based on the METCD
Wow.
manual, and then also talk to Sam, make sure that
Just
they're checking it on.
enough signage, letting people know prior, because on Forest Road, it's just one section of it. It's a long section, and all of a sudden, you're there, and they did have a guide at one point because the traffic was coming on both sides, but you came up on it so quickly before you realized it. So we just want to make sure people know, because it's not like tar in the sense that you can get on your car, but it had that gravel. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Gadd? And it get on your car, and it makes that gravel sound. So if people know or see the signage early enough, they might can detour and go, say, Todd Road or another road before they have to come all the way up. So that was the only thing that I noticed, and that was the only thing that I got some calls about, especially on Forest Road and Tenny Nelson Road. So we could just make sure there's signage.
I'll check them, and then I'll talk to Sam about it, make sure that's their superintendent. Check.
And the other thing I want to ask, and I understand the situation now for Public Works throughout every county of getting employees. It's just the timing right now, it's just hard to meet those demands. So I do want to say to the board at another time, I do want us to look back at the state inmate project, because once again, it's manpower. So I don't know how the board, looks at the state inmate project. But once again, just making sure that we have the manpower to do the work that's needed. It's just another thing we may want to go back and entertain that thought.
The only thing with that is they cannot run the large equipment that we have. And it sounds like that's where we're missing a lot of employees to do that.
I do have a question. What about County Line Church Road? I think I mentioned it to Mr. Gay, where they...
I apologize, I looked at it yesterday.
Okay, all right. So what do you think, or what?
Everything looks good as far as the slopes and grassing in place. The approaches to the bridge are really well. The problems that we had and have mentioned to the DOT inspector is prior to hitting the new asphalt, they've scarred the surface treatment on County Line
I
Church
think that's
Road.
what the citizen was complaining about, was that they messed up some of it in
Yes.
doing the bridge.
We did a walkthrough with the DOT inspector, and we put that on the list.
Okay.
And I guess we'll try to follow up with him and see if they're coming back to fix that. There's a bare spot on one side of the bridge, and then on the other, I'm not so sure that that's just pre-existing condition.
It hadn't been that long ago that we resurfaced that road, though.
Right. So they've got plant mix on the bridge approaches, and then your surface treatment, what the county did, I guess, last year. But I think equipment turning around and things scarred at the
So
surface
you think it's
treatment.
something they will address, though?
We asked them to address
Okay.
that. I haven't got a response from DOT on that.
Okay, thank
But
you.
that was part of our punch list.
Okay.
But other than that, it's really a nice looking bridge.
If I could mention just a couple things. One, Bill gave the report of all that had been done. As you can see, every category is up, some up substantially.
Yes, it is.
But that's also in the middle of making all of these culvert repairs that they've done in-house. And that takes a lot of time and effort too. So I think the Public Works Department, Bill, Tyrell, and all the folks there have really done a good job. We have some more things I know that...
Yeah, they're having to pull some employees from other crews when they're doing the and I forgot about the culvert. The county's excavator is broken. It's needs substantial repairs, and they're trying to find parts on it. We're also getting quotes on rental equipment, so now our culvert replacement is kind of stagnant.
So like on Mount Carmel Road, that's going to be,
We're the pipe's in place. It's been delivered, but now we need a piece of equipment to proceed on the second pipe on Mount Carmel. The first one's pretty much complete.
And the last thing I've mentioned is I've gotten some calls. It's kind of funny. We had a board meeting with another group the other day, and the gentleman said, "Oh gosh, y'all had come out and y'all had done all this really smooth asphalt. It looked so good. And then y'all came back and did this treatment on top of it." And what I told him, I said, well, what you don't understand is that nice asphalt you were driving on was nothing but a leveling course, and then probably for 6 months, it would have just unraveled. And we did get some calls on the surface treatment. And just like the gay connector looked out here when we first did it, it looks kind of like a road to the beach, because it is a tar gravel application finished off with the sand seal. You do get those small sand or small pebbles that will move around for a while, but they used to finish it with rock, and you had rock that moved around for a while, and it would break everybody's windshield. So this is a lot better deal. After a few rains, after traffic goes over it, it will look like the road's out here, and it's a long wear and surface, and by going to that, you guys were able to double your road miles. So
I think that was the main concern for Forest Road and Tenny Nelson. They just was not expecting that new process. So once again, the more you educate people and keep them informed, they are able to accept some of the changes and things of that nature. So that was the biggest challenge on Forest Road, because it did look good.
yeah, and after I explained it, they were fine. Yeah,
Just got to make sure everybody be aware of it.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Kathy?
I'm being told, quick. Would you share with these three, please? I have one for you, would you mind passing them down? I'm distributing the June activities for building, for the building and zoning department. As I have in the past, we've got the district for the commissioners area on each one of these buildings. We have a total of $1,628,558 in valuation for new projects during the month of June. I also included two new things on here. Anybody that is going to do demolition on a home, a mobile home, or what have you, they should have a permit for that. And we are including this on here to let you know that we're keeping up with that and make sure that they are handling these demolitions properly. We have had a situation where there was asbestos on the siding of a home, and of course that does take special abatement. And of course, we want to make sure we keep up with all that. They have to show us that they are contracted with a hazmat team to properly take care of that and properly dispose of it, which they would bring us receipts showing that it was taken to the proper facilities. We also are diligent in watching our land disturbance issuance. Anytime somebody disturbs more than 1 acre of land in clearing for a house, a project, what have you, they do have to have permits from both the state of Georgia EPD as well as your local issuing authority, which is Meriwether County Building and Zoning. And we make sure that they are properly removing and placing dirt where it should be, make sure that there is no disturbance of any of the waterways, and make sure that they're not going to cause any kind of flooding issues or property neighboring these areas having any kind of runoff and damage and things like that. During that process also, we do have inspections where we go out and monitor that to be sure that it is being done properly. And I just want to keep you abreast of anything like that you're aware of so you know what's going on. And on the back of this, you do have just more of a visual to show you where we're at. The month of June was a little bit smaller in our numbers, but I believe that's because of weather and the heat. I don't know how many builders and contractors like working in the summer heat down in our area here, but I do see that would change. In past history, you'll see that that's usually a quieter time during the summer months. And just a quick note, I want to thank several of the department heads. I think that there has been a conscious effort to really work together. I see we have the tax assessor's office here. Byron was here earlier. Still there, okay. I don't want to leave anybody out. We have Ren with 911, of course Skip always helps us out, and then animal control. We've had several situations where we have gone out as a group to handle certain problems we've had in the county. I feel like that presence is better when we make those visits. They actually see that we're coming together and we're working together. I feel like it's making a difference. We communicate with one another. We let each other know when we have a situation. We ask for backup. We work together on it. And
we've had 2 situations already that I think are going to be handled. It may come to a court case, but at least the situations where people, animals, and property were affected, and I think it'd be a big difference. One positive note, and I want to share, I haven't spoken with anybody else, of course, I can't give any names, but the tax assessors were out on some inspections, and they came across a situation they thought was unusual. They found a vehicle, had all the little stickers on the back of it, like there were children in the household, what have you. And it appeared someone was living in that vehicle because it was parked near a home that was not in good condition, did not look livable. So they notified us, we went out on a code inspection along with animal control because there were a lot of animals running around. It ended up, it was a gentleman who lived there who had lost a very close friend, and later on we found out that he was to the point of suicide. And someone in my office picked up on some of the comments that he made, and we really made an effort to speak with this gentleman on a weekly basis, and he came to us last week and said, indeed, he had considered suicide. But the comments that we got from him let us know that everyone that participated in that visit made a difference and saved that man's life. So I wanted to share that. I mean, things go a lot deeper than just our regular everyday work. We do make an impact on people's lives, and thank you all for what you do to help out. As a group, we can take care of a lot of things, and I do want to mention that. Thank you.
All right, we have the tax assessor's office here, so we can come up.
Give y'all a ring.
And you hadn't said anything.
Maybe they want me to shut.
Just normal today.
Yeah. Well, we're in our 5th week of our assessment period, 45-day appeal time, and even though it's been busy and phone calls, inquiries about the evaluations, that we sent out over 17,000. But we've had only 30 appeals, formal appeals, and 27 of those have been resolved or basically sent a 30-day letter for resolve, and that time is not up yet, but it's been fairly quiet along those lines. We estimate that we are going to have about 3% digest growth this year again, and we should be on time for our digest submission on September 3rd. We don't see any problems with that. Basically, that's all I really want to say. Just let you know where we are in the appeal process.
I have a question. I know there have been some changes in some people's evaluations. I've gotten a couple of calls. Could you tell us what has dictated the majority of the changes on any of the evaluations? I mean, it's not based on a millage increase.
Yeah, well, the economy has improved a good bit, and back in the years past when the economy was at its lowest point, we made our routine, act of adding like economic depreciation to houses. Now that the economy has improved, we've made it an effort to go in there and look at these houses that had the economic depreciation added, and we've removed it. We've about got all of it off now because the economy is really doing well. Well, home building is up, construction is up, property's selling now. So that's pretty much the reason for a lot of them. But we've also monitor the sales too that occur each year. And if we see areas that are selling, then we'll go in and reappraise that area,
Thank you.
Could I mention about sales ratio study? The sales ratio study came in here about, a month ago. It was very good. There were no violations. Everything was in order. All the statistical analysis to be sure things were equitable. And I just want to say what a good job David, Gene, staff have done. I think we were in a period where we had to correct some items going forward, and they were giving us 3 years, but I think you guys resolved those in 1 year and had that clean. So we're good for 3 years down the road.
We got another review coming up next year, but we've resolved all our deficiencies.
Yes, good.
That's one thing I don't think the citizens understand about that sales ratio. You're mandated on some of these things to do, and they don't understand necessarily how that works. And that's what I've tried to explain to some of mine that have called it about, things, the economy is different than it was, and you got cases where houses side by side almost like, but they were assessed very differently. I'm trying to get things back in line.
Absolutely. And if you don't meet those standards, the state will penalize you too. So, it's fair, as you say with neighbors. So I just wanted to point that out. Good job, these guys.
Yeah, things are looking better. I think we'll reach the point where we'll have to do more area reviews if the economy continues to improve, but right now we're in really good shape.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, David. Chief, Fire Department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Got two main goals here. One is to give you the information requested. My second goal is really important to me, is to be a little bit quicker than Gwen. So, seems to be a competition between you and I. We have run for the last month about 395 calls. 361 of those were medically related. There's a couple of very quick just numbers that I wanted to kind of emphasize that, it's kind of hard to tell a picture, paint a picture with numbers about what didn't happen. We ran 7 structure fire calls. That's not the number I want to emphasize. The ones that I want to emphasize are the fire alarms, and then we had calls for electrical smell or smoke in the house. The fire alarms were 7, and then the electrical smells or smoke in the house were 6. So now, a lot of times those fire alarms, to be quite honest with you, are just false alarms. Some of those are real. The electrical smells of smoke, though, smoke calls, were structure fires that didn't happen. So, and I can cite specific places and calls that we went on to. So that to me is feedback, direct results of what the full-timers and the fire district tax is doing, which is exciting. We talked about what we were going to see, and we're starting to see it, and I think it's just a tip, really, what we're about to see with this program, especially if we continue to get it developed and rolled out. I wanted to touch very briefly on our billing. We are doing right now 436, I think, collected. We are up 15K over last year. That was this time 421. Real briefly, 2018 was a total of 849, 705. 2017 was 854. 2016 was 750, and then whatever reason, I'm not sure, 2015 was 500, and 14 was around 350. So those numbers have improved greatly. Just some various things that we've done over the month of June. We did the openings, which I'm glad to say you don't have to remind me about this time. Last 2 times in a row I've had to be reminded about. It's very exciting and fun. I also want to say that I'm very glad to see these 2 gentlemen here. I have no idea why they're here, but it's just always good to see them. We went to the EMA meeting in Jones County. We did some work with the Board of Education as far as cleaning up the old team maze at the old gym. I'm not sure what the goal there was, but we did a lot of cleanup. And I think, as you heard with Dustin's report, we're doing a lot of work using that for training in some of the facilities I have there, which has been crucial for us to getting, progress made with our certifications and training. Dustin's done some stop the bleed work again. We did a lot. I think we actually set some records for counties, especially this per capita, with the amount of stop the bleeds that were issued and the training that we did. We have trained, I think it's somewhere just under 400 people to use, under 400 people all told, to use the stop the bleed programs and the kits that have gone out. So I'm not sure the kits aren't that great a number, but most of those were in the school system. I think we did the bus drivers. I think, if not mistaken, we just did the animal shelter. And we hope, and that, because that program statewide has been received, and I think Georgia actually setting records with the nation, they're rolling it out and giving us more to give out so we can expand that. We're hoping to maybe roll this out maybe to Public Works and more areas like that to make sure that those kits are available, because already on a statewide level there's a lot of stats and feedback to say, hey, there have been lives saved because of these kits. So I think the cost of those kits is insignificant compared to the change it makes in just one person's life. So, let's see, we did our state inspections on ambulances. We got a gig for an ARG book missing, and that was all. So we're kind of proud of that. We got taken care of immediately. Very fortunate to receive 4 ventilators from Warm Springs Medical Center. I want to say publicly thank you to them. They were very generous, and they had some, I don't know if it was surplus equipment, but it was extra ventilators a little bit. But we have one currently. It's a little dated, and those 4 new ventilators are going to be a big deal
for us and how we do what we do. Usually it helps us, if we pick up or transport somebody from the hospital that needs that, it means we have to find extra help to ride in the back of the truck. It'll always be good to have that extra set of hands or help there, but these ventilators can help if we don't have that help. It's a very generous offer from the North Springs Medical Center. I believe that's all. I have a couple of events coming up, but I guess I'll save that for the next meeting. So,
Appreciate it. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you.
I was quicker than Brent, right?
Yep.
Okay. Ms. Jane? I hope I didn't overlook anyone. I think I got everyone. Patty said she didn't have anything. And Skip, did we get you? Or you said you didn't have anything? Come on.
Just really don't have anything, just let everybody know in the county that we put in a spam filter, trying to cut down on some of the garbage. Hopefully I'll take a little bit.
We did. I know. Can you explain to me, you know how we getting these calls? I mean, I get them, you know,
They're spoof numbers. I don't really, can't explain how they get the number. My number's been calling people, you get a phone call back, hey, did you just call me? No, don't even know who you are. They get these numbers, I don't know how they spoof the SIM cards. The only way to get around it is if it gets real bad, you just have to change your number. I'll get robocalls all, I get probably 10 a day. I'd like to get a better answer.
oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's, you know,
I've talked to Verizon about it a couple of times, and they said if it gets bad, change the number. The problem changing numbers is life changes and it's not going to stop. They don't get that number from calls.
appreciate all that you do, especially throughout the entire county and all the different departments. Thank you for your hard work as well.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we got everyone regarding our department heads. Appreciate all the information and the reporting that you all have done. This helps the board as well as the citizens to see that there's a lot get done in this county. You may not always see everything up front, but behind the scenes, it takes a lot to keep things going. So we appreciate all the hard work that your departments are doing. The next item is a public hearing, and from my understanding, there is no need for a public hearing. So our next item is our unfinished business, and this is to talk about the agreement between Meriwether County and the construction managing principal, William Construction Company. Mr. Gay, you want to go ahead and take care of it?
Yes, ma'am, sure will. Thank y'all, and we appreciate having this back on the agenda. We have from Principal Williams today, we have Mr. Leon Moody and Mr. Jay Johnson with us, and they've been working on this on some of the other fire stations. Today we have before you a AIE contract to contract with them to serve as construction manager on our next two stations, and then hopefully on the remaining two, and then we have a remodeling project as well. I handed out to you this morning, I ended up with one short. I copied 7, but I think I'd given some of them away, and I did send you guys this information last night on a email. And you have two. One I highlighted with yellow on the top, and the other one is not highlighted. The one with the that's not highlighted, this was a projected cost that was given originally, and you can look over on page 2 at line 67, and you see where those numbers were. And we had an opportunity with Bill and myself to sit down with Leon and Jay and go back over these, and we revised some of the figures. Like, for example, we're going to look at paving roads, the stations once we complete everything and know that we've got sufficient dollars. We made adjustments where items needed to be adjusted, like, for example, where there's water and sewer. We could reduce those numbers. We could reduce, some of the other things as we went through, some of the things we could do in-house. And so the numbers on the highlighted sheet look very, very good to us. Now, Bill had given me the numbers that we spent on the existing stations, and he said add about $10,000 per station for the civil and the architectural. So those stations range from a low of $477.5 up to a high of $595, and and we understand that some of the pricing has gone up. I know steel and rebar has increased, some of the other items that are out there. So in going back and looking, tweaking these numbers, we felt like this was a very good estimate from Principal Williams. And as construction manager, and I'll get them to come and speak on this matter too, they will manage the construction projects. They will bring forth the bids. They will get everything, and all the items and all the components will be bid. And I'd like to ask Jay and Leon to come up at this time and just kind of talk a little bit about the construction manager and the procedure that we'll use, and then hopefully answer any questions the board may have.
Yeah, as construction manager at risk, it's a common practice in our industry to in a situation like this, to get hired and then take competitive bids. You said you have a competitive process. You're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting we're like joining you as a team. So we become a team member of yours. We share all costs. You know exactly what our fees are, and you know exactly what all the costs are in the job. And we also give you a guaranteed maximum price once we take all competitive bids. So there's no way for you to lose in this situation. There's a way for us to lose if it were to cost more, but there's no way for you to lose.
So we literally become an extension of y'all's staff. We'll continue to work directly with Darren, Bill, and like he said, once we get the design so far, we will be over the design. So we'll be able to give direct input to our architects, to our engineers, to make sure that we don't have a project get designed that's double your budget again. We'll be able to provide that input from day one once we release our architects.
I haven't done the last four. We have a good idea of what your expectations are, and the only unknown would be the site, particular sites. Once we define those and know what kind of dirt and soils we're dealing with, then there really are no other unknowns after that. As Darren said, certain costs have gone up, electrical's gone up, and we don't have any control over that. We just have to react to those. But for us to take qualified competitive bids and then present those to the team and analyze everything, we feel like that's the best for you guys. Our fee's actually lower on this than it was the last ones, but there's less risk for us on this because we know what we're getting into now. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell. You'll see on the right-hand side in red, you'll see some of the cost differences from the last four we did to this next group. And Darren, we can go through those individually, or
if the board wants, I've sat down with a couple board members and just tried to look at everything and go over the process. One thing that I do want to point out, Lynn, is you said earlier, if once you got all the bids in, you guys would give us a guaranteed maximum price. And anything over that is at risk for you guys. But also as you go through these, and some of the bids come in lower, let's just say, I don't know, all of a sudden this component of it has dropped in price. That comes back as a savings to the county.
That's correct.
So there's opportunities for us to save there. When we met, we talked about things we might be able to do in-house, like demolition, utility taps, things such as that we might be able to do just to cut costs. So it'll be a team effort. We'll work with these guys and and discuss anything we could do to help save the costs for the county. And at the end of the day, once we've adjusted these numbers, considering the price increase, we were pretty well pleased, how they compared to what we had previously, and understanding that, materials have gone up. A lot of your issues that come in that drive the cost up are site associated. Like we had some lots that had a high water table, that had, some drainage issues. We had a couple of sites that were on state routes that required a, decel lane and the entrance lane into that. All of that adds cost up. And, we understand that. These guys will be there to help us with it. And we'll be working as a team. We'll meet regularly. We'll look at the bids that they have produced on everything. And hopefully at the end of the day, we can bring this in at even lower cost.
That's the plan.
As far as timing of everything, we've already solicited bidders on the site work for Cove Road. So once you all are okay with this process, we can begin pushing dirt out there immediately. I know people want to see action, and so we were prepared for that and hoping that we can move forward. And while we're designing, doing our architectural design, we can be pushing dirt out there on site to give everybody a sense of this project moving along.
One of the things I think is always, gentlemen, hard for us to get our minds around, most of us, when we think about something, we're thinking in terms of residential and the costs associated there. And when we see something over in the commercial arena, it takes a little while to get your head around it because there's simply a quantum leap there that you have to make to go into the commercial side. So it's oftentimes hard to do.
One other comment I'll make on this, that when we started down this road last time, we had civil drawings, we had architectural drawings. So we were able to go out and solicit contractors directly ourselves. In the process, in order to get within budget that we could afford, we had to modify that plan substantially. Took out the mezzanine, we lowered the roof pitch a little bit, all these things which modified that plan. So now I don't have a set of plans to send back out and get those bids on and contract it ourselves. Working with them, we'll be able to do that.
Plans, that would be an additional cost.
It would. New plans would be an additional cost. And one other thing I wanted to point out over here, just for you guys to understand, on item line number 5, for example, if you look over at the second column, that is the architectural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing design. You'll note that since we're building these buildings, basically, the same building resituated on the site, the initial plan is going to be more than the subsequent plan. So what they're going to do is they're going to come back in and reduce those costs, and I think that would carry across the board for the additional 2 as well. So that's some ways that that this will help us save. So just a little thing I wanted to point out, but when you get right down to it, that will save us $22,500 over the remaining 3 stations.
I just have one thing. I did have some concerns, and Darren sat with me and the commissioners over this AI document, which I know is just a general kind of contract. So he was able to answer a lot of questions that I had, so I feel comfortable with it. The only thing that I have, and Mr. Gay or you can answer, I understand the guaranteed risk, the built-in risk insurance, I understand that. But on the back side of this, which is on page 14, it's Article 8, it talks about the insurance bonding. So these are 2 different things. So does this mean, Mr. Gay or Dan, that not only you would have a bond and the county also would have to have a bond? It's page number 14?
14.
Article 8.
No, I don't know if the county would.
Just us.
We will have a performance and payment bond to ensure that if, for some reason, if we were to default over the course of the project, there's a bonding company that's going to come in and finish the job. unless y'all are doing it by some means to, I think y'all did a fire district to pay for all this. So, I mean, I don't know if y'all have any revenue bonds associated with it.
I just saw the term and it has construction manager and the owner shall purchase. So I know it's a general statement, so I know this is just a general contract. So I just wanted to get clarity on that. Other than that, I appreciate you sharing the information.
We'll have our insurance, which will go into effect as soon as the building starts becoming ready to go have that. And there are three insurance. There's the, like I say, they said if they go out of business, the at-risk insurance happens to be if they miss something
On the bidding.
Right, and that's to kind of, protect the county where they go.
Okay, just wanted to get clarity on that.
Madam Chair, Mr. Gay asked the question when we began, did we want to go through each line item? Personally, no, that's just too painful. I don't care to do that. But the rest of the board can speak to.
I personally don't have no need. For me personally, Darren was very willing to sit down with me and other commissioners about this and cleared up some concerns that I had. So I'm okay with the document that's been presented to us at this time.
It's just a general statement. We were able to save a little bit of money on some site-specific items. Some site-specific items we just don't know about yet. We gotta put a hoe in the ground to figure out what that dirt is gonna be.
Bill buys a swamp, then we...
That's right.
It changes the whole thing.
That's right. But the rest of these increases in which this is the world that we live in and work in every single day. And so we track this as part of our business. And so the items you see in red that are associated with annual increases are your steel, your electrical fixtures, so on and so forth. But I think it's explained pretty well there. And we're both available for any other comments that any of them have.
I do have to make one comment because I'm a little bit perplexed to see $45 for cups and ice because any contract I've ever had pretty much decides it wrong.
That's right, but it's job cost. It's a job cost item. It gets paid for under the cost of the job, and it's in OSHA. If you'll read your OSHA 1924, it's in there. It says that we have to provide cups and ice for all employees on the job site. So it is a job cost.
So, in reality, because of OSHA, you have it in there.
That's right. That's right. So we'd be in violation if it wasn't there.
We do a lot extra as a business.
Yeah.
Looking out for you.
Is there any other questions or comments? If not, so at this time, we need to get a motion to accept the contract that's presented to us.
I move we accept the agreement.
So there's been a motion and a second that the county accept the contract that's presented to us by Principal William Construction and moving forward with our fire district. At this time, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? If not, motion carries.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you all for
You
your
guys
input.
will see Kathy Johnson for a land disturbance permit would be ready to go. Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. The first item is 2019 budget amendment number 7, receipt from FEMA reimbursement, and I'm assuming this is with you.
It is, this is first three reimbursements that we're getting from FEMA. It's not the largest, but the largest one we're working on right now. We should get that short. But all four of these budget amendments are what I call good budget amendments. We're just accepting more money than we budgeted. Like I said, the first one is FEMA reimbursement of $229,305.13.
We just need to get a motion to accept this. And is there a second? Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. At this time, if there's not any discussion, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, Bill?
Excuse me, is the first of 3 animal shelter amendments. The first one is number 8 for $6,500. That's the quarterly grant we get from the generous donor. $65,000, but there was some extra things that Sean's staff did that, excuse me, that got reimbursed for. It's $6,500.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept the budget amendment for item number 3?
So,
Is there a second? Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second that we do the budget amendment for item number 3 for the animal shelter. At this time, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is budget item number 9. This is also for the animal.
We're just registering the $30,000 grant we got to buy the new truck.
that was a donation, not a grant.
I'm sorry, donation. It's different than the $6,500 donation.
All right.
The truck's sitting out back, if you want to take a look at it.
All right.
It's about $30,000.
So can I get a motion that we accept the amendment for the donation of $1,000 for the animal shelter?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, the last one is, I've got it listed as a grant, I think it's probably a donation as well.
Okay.
There's some extra work at the animal shelter, outside kennel work, provide coverings for the animals out there. It's about $1,700.
Sean, did you have to write a request for the additional?
I did, I sent a request for it, and eventually just have to send receipts.
So it is a grant.
It is,
So at this time, budget item number 10, which is a grant for the animal shelter. Can we get a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The next item is item number 5. This is with the U.S. Census Bureau. It's going to do a presentation. Is it Linda Baptiste? Baptiste, it's
Chair and Commissioners, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Linda Baptiste, and this is my colleague Doris Turner, and I am here to talk to you about the 2020 census. As you all know, that it is constitutionally mandated that we take a census every 10 years. According to Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. This has taken place in 1790. So the census is constitutionally mandated for 2 reasons, reapportionment and dollars. And as a result, it's used for redistricting at the national, state, and local levels. So after 2010, Georgia, the state of Georgia gained 1 congressional seat. And what we're talking about is $675 billion a year that's distributed from the federal government down to state and local levels. Now, in the state of Georgia, this comes to approximately over $1,300 per person. And so imagine not having anyone counted in the state of Georgia, what impact that could have on our state and down to the local communities. So I'm happy to say that in 2020, Meriwether County had a 64% response rate. However, in 2010, you increased that response rate to 76%. So, congratulations on that. So the question today is, what's going to happen in 2020? Well, I'm here today to ask you about 2 things. Forming a complete count committee and establishing a resolution in support of supporting the 2020 census. So as far as the Complete Count Committee, the WHO is local governments working together with partners to form this Complete Count Committee. And the Complete Count Committee is a broad spectrum of your community, which could consist of education, business, healthcare, and especially community grassroots organizations. So we're in the process of forming Complete Count committees throughout the state of Georgia and across the nation so that these trusted voices can in fact communicate to local residents about the importance of the census. And we're talking about an increase in population. So what you have in front of you are handouts that helps to deliver the message. But the Complete Count Committee has to have the support of this body, our trusted leaders. And so what we're looking for is to structure a Complete Count Committee that is based upon local government, for example, and you get to make this determination. So you get to picture your Complete Count Committee how you want it to be. I'm glad to see that our mayors are here today because we absolutely need your support. When does it happen? As soon as possible. We are in the education phase, and what better time to educate our community because it's going to take quite a while to get that done. So that by April 1, everyone is counted, they're counted once, and they're counted in the right place. How are we going to do it? We can only do it with you. The process is that we start with a Complete Count Committee, holds meetings, develop plans, and implement that plan. Now, what I did pull for you is a picture. This is a map of Meriwether County. And what it represents is the low response rate. And the darker the color, the lower the response rate. Now the low response rate is a projection, but that projection is based upon the annual survey that's done, the American Community Survey. And this is based upon our most recent data, 2018 American Community Survey. So as you can see, you have a pocket right here that's dark, which says your low response rate is between 24 and 28%. So there's a great chance that these people will not complete or respond to the census. And we use various data to support that. And so I've included in your packet certain tracks, and I've pulled some of those tracks. It's on the left-hand side. And for example, on page 1, it says that for this track 9707, households without no computing devices is 32%. And so, because the census is going to be done electronically this year, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. The next track highlights a high percentage of African Americans, 51.92% in that particular track, 9708. And so it's very important to get the word out to that community, to your community, to ensure that they understand the value and importance of the 2020 census. And I've also included in your packet 50 ways that census dollars are used. All of the things that you had in your meeting today, emergency services, road repair, planning for your community, hospitals, schools. Another one of your hard to reach in track 9705 is children under 18 living in poverty, 48.51%. And chances are that particular community may not fill out the census form. Renters is another hard to count community. So we're looking at 41.18 in tract 9705 that could potentially not fill out that form. Tract 9706, for example, again, renters. Now, although you have a households with computers 65% in that community, which is great, you also have a high percentage of persons living below the poverty level and also children. So we want to emphasize the importance of our children in particular, because the truth is they need schools 10 years from now. And so if we have children who are not even born yet, we want to be able to emphasize the importance of their parents, that age group 18 to 40 who could have children over those next couple of years, the importance of being counted. So I would encourage you to take a look at the handout, Census 101, what you need to know, how people are going to be invited. And there's a timeline for how we're going to do this, the way we're going to do it, and a timeline for all of our major activities. In a few months, our census workers are going to be on the ground, so we're going to need this community to pay attention when someone's outside their door, because those are probably census workers, and I'll be in contact with you regarding that. But the census is private, it's confidential. And that's another key message that this community needs to hear. And so, our role as partnership specialists, we have responsibility for supporting you in forming that complete count committee, coming out and doing training for your trusted voices that you've selected to head up these committees, to help you to formulate subcommittees, to help you in formulating your work plans. You know what activities you have. So we're wanting to take advantage of what you already have in communicating the word and getting the word out for Census 2010. What questions do you have?
I have a comment. You mentioned that that it would be done online, but if I'm reading this right, you can still do it by mail and by phone. Because online, it will be an issue in our county.
Absolutely. We will notify you initially, and you're absolutely right, we'll notify you initially that it's coming, but you can choose to even make a telephone call and say, I want to do mine by phone, or you can fill out the actual form by mail. So thanks for bringing that up.
I do want to comment, Three Rivers had a workshop, I think a month ago, and we had representatives from Meriwether County there. Miss Kathy, you was there, Ren was there, Allison was there, Jean, you were there, and once again, the information that was given to us was really good. If I'm not mistaken, Ren or Kathy, if you want to comment, have we already discussed a complete count group, or were you already there part of that, or no? Okay.
We haven't discussed it.
Okay. All right. I know that there was a part where there was an exercise that was done, and it was indicated because broadband would be an issue since the census is going digital. There was some discussion about utilizing the schools, utilizing the library, partnership with the technical school. Bren and Kathy and Jean all came up with those ideas. So.
And those are great ideas.
So they came up with ways to overlook some of your barriers around broadband. And so once again, that was another opportunity to bring people together in the community. So once again, Meriwether County being a rural county and a county that has a population that fits lower on the poverty level, it is definitely to our advantage to make sure that this is done and everyone's counting, because as you stated, these are funds that will be needed in every aspect of the county. So
now you need the structure to support all of the great ideas that you have.
Okay.
And that will be the completion.
So is this like a committee or
It's a
group?
committee.
And then you in turn will be communicating with this group of
This
people?
is your committee. But yes, I will be communicating. Absolutely, just as I met with Mr. Gay and Allison, yes.
So are you asking the board to initiate a committee?
A complete count committee, yes.
And so that's a resolution?
And a resolution, yes.
And how soon we need to use our committee ASAP?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would train that committee,
I would
what we
train
need to
that
do,
committee.
and that committee's responsibility would be to provide outreach in the community to
Absolutely.
get it. And I think Beverly brought up the idea of discussing of maybe putting a computer out here in the lobby.
In the lobby, yeah.
That could be tied in and people could use this location to do the census as well.
Now, from one of my seminars that I went to, I understood that you cannot stand over anyone's shoulder to assist them. It has to be
That's
done by themselves.
Right, but that, if they give you permission or someone that, yeah, the librarian or someone else in your community to stand over them, then yes, that can happen. That permission can be given.
I see Mayor Glover has a question.
Thank you. I attended a seminar in Mason a while back, and I asked about like the jail and the hospital, and they were saying how easy it was to get those ones. Why can't you use like Social Security card for someone to get, no?
Because it's personal, private information.
Okay. My second question, if you know of, I know you can't say maybe just stand with him unless they agree to let you stand with him, but if you know someone and you feel they're gonna have problems giving this information themselves, can you personally assist them in doing that?
If they give you permission.
If they give me permission.
If they give you permission, you can.
Of the $1,300 per person that you mentioned, how much of that comes to the county and what can it be?
That's up to the state. The state makes the appropriations and determination of how that money is spent.
We have, coming up soon, something gonna be on our ballot, T-SPLOSH. For that, we'll be going into the community doing presentations. Would this be something that we could add to that we could talk about? Because we will reach a lot of people during those meetings. I mean, it'll be this year, so it'll be, what, September?
September
And October, maybe?
October.
This wouldn't start till next year, but it might be a way to get the information out.
Would it be better if we had members of that board that have been trained to come to each of those and they can speak?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, something, or at least you can have handouts, but I mean, when you just say what you did about the amount of money it equals, and especially how it affects our schools, most people ought to make sure that we get counted.
Absolutely.
Ms. Batiste, would you also elaborate, and I think they did this at the workshop, how important it is when you look at, even when you apply for a grant, whether it's a USDA grant or any kind of grant, state or government, they go back and pull up this data. So the information that we're providing is used for other things further down the road. So if your information is not accurate and fulfilling, then when you are looking to get FEMA money, whatever that is, this will determine whether or not you are going to be eligible to get those funded.
Absolutely. Your grants, for example, as you mentioned, when you're doing grants, the grant is going to want to know, well, how many people are in this population, the people that you're serving. So if you want to serve those people, they're going to compare it with census data that's based upon population. So you can't say, well, we've got 50,000 people that we're wanting to do for this particular program, but the population shows that there are only 30,000. So that's why it's important to make sure that people are counted in each and every tract, each and every community.
And I can see the really importance in that for the school board, because when you're talking
When you're talking Title I, when you're talking lunch programs, when you're talking about food stamps, when you're talking about any kind of dollars that are tied to those students, they're going to use, well, let's see how many students are in this community, in this tract, and see how many dollars are associated with that.
I'm interested in getting this committee formed right away, so my question is, what's the number of members should we have, and who should be on that committee?
Okay, as far as, in general, we're talking about education, government, media. I don't know if you all have a local television station?
No, not yet.
Not yet, right?
We got the newspaper.
Newspaper,
We do
okay.
stream the meeting videos, right?
Yes.
They're, yeah.
Yes. Community organizations, your library system, anything that touches people.
The chamber and things
The
like that.
Chamber of Commerce, your businesses,
and your faith-based
and your faith, don't forget about your faith-based community.
So
Because that's absolutely a trusted voice.
So basically, we need a chairperson, a person to start initiating this, to get it started, to contact these very people. What do you suggest, how do you suggest that we go about getting this committee together?
I think it should start here. Once your resolution is done, and then the mayor say, okay, we agree with this, and then each group choose the chair of the subcommittees, all right? And then work your way down to the community level.
So the biggest thing is we have to get the resolution.
Well, it doesn't mean that you have to wait, but that would be helpful if you did the resolution.
So is that something, Dirk, that we can?
The resolution, do you have like
I do have a template. I'll send it to you before I leave. I do have a template.
School involvement could be a tremendous thing too. You know, we could maybe have something.
In education, yeah,
Sent home with students maybe reminding their parents. I know that doesn't always work, but.
Is there any way we can get the resolution on the
the committee, if I'm correct, would be, they had talked about it at the training, would be Kathy, Brand, Allison, the ones that we have, and then the subcommittee would be the other people that the board would put in, the faith-based and the community and the other people that they would talk about, the organizations.
I'm very much interested in it.
We already got some volunteers.
Is it?
She's already attended a workshop. Mayor's attended a workshop, so that's not gonna be a problem. So I guess the question is, can we possibly have that resolution available for us on our next agenda so we can vote on it?
With this particular type of board, do we have to be careful with having a forum of one particular type or not, David?
What do you mean by one particular type?
Like if there were 3 of this board on that board.
It just, then you have to notice it as meeting. Just like the,
Same if it was from the city.
Like the
Yeah, that's what I-
steering committee from our other, you know.
I see,
Comments?
One more question.
Mayor Glover.
We have got our committee together, but we didn't know anything about this form, but we have to have a resolution to do it.
But you don't need a resolution
Okay, thank you.
at the city level.
All right, and then my second thing, you have copies of that left email, that you got small copies of that.
I can send you an electronic copy.
I would appreciate it.
But with that being said, so if we have cities with their individual committees, is there a way that all of these committees could be combined? Like she said, the city of Greenville already have their committee. So when we do a committee as per se with the commissioner, chamber and all, so should we all meet together
You can, but you can also have subcommittee meetings.
to overlap one another?
You can get the committee too big to
Big, right?
run anything.
I guess the main thing she's saying is that, and I think Three Rivers stated this, that the county has to initiate the resolution. So other than that, whatever the cities do, but just
We
for the
get the resolution and on the next agenda.
Right.
Like I said, we can, these SPOS meetings are gonna be a great time to put some of this information out there.
If we can carry those with us and hand that out. And my recommendation would be to, just to bring the resolution back at the next meeting.
Right.
And maybe in the meantime, you guys might want to think about, who you'd like to maybe have, as start with that committee. It's a kind of informal committee, so we could expand it if we needed to in the future.
Each city had one already. That would be a huge start there.
It would.
And lastly, this is a commitment form of some of the things that you can do. But you also want to include, what do you already have planned? What are some of the things that you're going, I heard you talk about the splosh, whatever else you have going on, that's a great opportunity to get the word out to your community.
Well, provide computer space, they talked about putting one, it's gonna already be one thing.
Absolutely. So Beverly, you have my contact information?
No, I think you should send me a card.
Okay, I'll give you a card. I have one for you.
Oh, is it in the card?
Yeah, there is one in the folder too. And in order to save, census dollars, my name is BAPTISTE.
And to make it easier for you, Mayor, love the request for the map, you send it all to Beverly.
Yes, I'll send it off to Beverly. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for providing such good information, and we're ready, we're fired up and ready to go.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be
Thank you again.
The next item in the new business is item number 6. It's the 2020 LeMay program, and this is with Darren.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I just want to go ahead and bring up the fact that we have received our stated allocation for the 2020 meeting, and $780,822.27, and we'll have to add 30% more to that for our program. And of course, the quicker we get this in, we got right now we got 18 and 19 in the works, so there's about 25 miles of road to be worked on. But we'd like to go ahead and get this in as soon as we practically could, that we get our funds and we go ahead and start. And if we make it in time to get our funds, we can do this fall. If not, we can be ready to roll, early spring and get our program going. So,
Are y'all already working on a list of suggestions for
Yeah, Bill.
roads and stuff?
you're already doing some road analyzation and, for our LeMig that is coming up. Yeah. So,
We had time to work on some road evaluations, so we can look at some of the roads we think probably are good candidates. So that,
yeah, so we'll bring back some suggestions on that, and, so we'll have that ready. I just want you guys to know that was here, and, we need to put this together pretty soon, we can go ahead and move everything forward.
All right, I do have a question about the grant for the signage.
Yes.
We've already received that, right?
We have.
And I guess if we know of a particular, most of the signage, for roads and stuff like that, but remember I mentioned to you that Dean Road and Mount Pilgrim Road didn't have, so when we submit that, would that be a part of getting that signage there? Or is this
This
just
signage is gonna be for
the
safety,
safety?
lack of, delineators, reflectors, chevrons, stop signs, things like that.
Well, and then there's a couple, and then once again, I can see the importance of the program that Brent brought to our attention. When people get to an area and the stop sign is gone, or people have damaged it, or there's signage that's no longer there, they can submit that, and then that gives us an opportunity to go to it and take care of it. It's still road, but once again, because off of Alley Road and off of Todd Road, I do not know why people want to vandalize this kind of property, but once again, on one end of the road, someone just decided to go have a gun range shooting, and there's, shot all into the stop signs.
It's ridiculous. Now, we're, Bill has come up with a way to, on the new type signage, we won't say people can't steal it, they can always knock it down. But with the type of attachment he's talking about, they'll have to work at it. They won't be able to go up
And aluminum pipe nuts.
I'm sorry.
There's some different specific type hardware to mount the sign with that they can't take a Allen wrench and take off.
Okay.
But some of the things they're doing is breaking the top of the sign out of the bracket. But, as we meet the MUTCD standards, the sign will be higher.
Okay.
They all have to meet a minimum height, so they're gonna have to be on the back of the pickup truck or ladder to start reaching street sign things.
I have noticed that the stop signs are higher. I noticed in Grantville, they've just put up some new stop signs and they're much higher than normal. So
Yeah,
is
there's
this,
a standard stop sign, the minimum bottom of the sign is typically 6 feet.
okay,
So that's been a standard for quite some time. So that's part of the safety program. I put a manual together, and we're gonna try to start adhering to the MUTCD manual.
Okay.
And look at the intersections, we may need to, double indicate some of these more traveled right ways than they are now.
We should come up with some kind of explosive die pack, like the main ad, that's permanent.
I heard you're an electrified.
And you've already ordered some of those.
We've started ordering stuff, taking bids on signs now. You're supposed to be able to record when you've installed these signs, because that's how you manage your reflectivity. The signs have a life cycle, depending on the reflectivity material you use. So anywhere 10, 12, 11 years. So we'll start to put together a spreadsheet where we can manage those signs that are installed. It's a federal requirement, so gonna get that going. And then I'm gonna look at the roads individually and try to come up with a list of signs that need to be replaced, improved, etc.
And Shirley, back to your issue on the road signs and everything, I would also want to encourage all of our employees, because we have employees all over the county every day. If you see a stop sign that's down, or you see something like that, and we'll send out maybe a memo to everybody on this, but they need to report it. If they can report it, we can go out and get it taken care of, and, maybe we can do it before someone misses that sign, has an accident or something.
right, okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, moving on to item number 7, confirmation for funding assistance for drainage repairs at multiple locations.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this Bill or you?
I guess both of us really, all three of us, Bill, and me. But we, after the floodings came in, we got together, we estimated what the cost would be. There was no federal declarations, so you didn't have any federal dollars. But what we did do is we called GDOT, and we asked them to consider it, and they took it before their board, and they agreed to pay for pipe and materials on the project. And we had about an estimated $800,000 worth of damage.
That included, I think, contractor costs.
That included contractor costs, it did. But Bill went back and reworked and respec'd everything, and we sent in just a material cost. And that was about $400,000. Now, they have committed up to $165,000, but I'm going to give them a call back because their commitment, as it come back to me, was pipe and material, and that's all that is. I want to be sure from the time it got transferred from where we sent it up to Atlanta that they didn't think, well, this includes labor and we're not going to cover that. So I'm going to make that call. I meant to make it before today. I just run out of daylight to be able to get it done. But I will call them, see if I can explain that, we do need some additional funds, and that the figures we presented did not represent any labor.
It was just material.
That's right, yes. So anyway, I brought this just for you guys to know we had it. I'm hoping the next meeting I'll be able to come back and say, well, we got some more, here's what it'll be. So we'll sure try.
So we have not received any funds yet.
No, and what we'll do is they've committed to this, and what we would have to do is they'll be added addition to our big funds.
Plus initially, we had sent 400 and they've only said 165.
Right. And I hope that they didn't think what was 400 included labor, and then they got to match 30%, and so it got dwindled down. But I'm going to assume I can't.
Get more clarity. Okay.
Absolutely.
Item number 8 was the additional that we added to the agenda. Beverly, you want to do this, or Mr. Gay?
Let Mr. Gay do it.
Resolution?
Yes, Madam Manager, this is the resolution on our workers' compensation. And the last resolution that was passed was a long time ago, and we've got a new company, we're back to ACCG. And this is just a resolution, verifying that we will cover the volunteer firefighters, volunteer law enforcement, any person certified by DHR, registered with the county as a medical first responder, and elected county officers and elected officials of government bodies. So this just verifies that we do need to cover those folks who help us in a volunteer situation under workers' comp as well, in case they are injured or whatever in the line of duty. So that's really all it is. A pretty simple resolution, but it is important if we ever have a claim.
So we just need a motion for me to sign the resolution?
Yes.
To approve it. So can we get a motion for the chairman to sign and approve the resolution for volunteer and elected officials to be covered by the ACCG? So moved.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is report from the finance director.
Madam Chair, you've got two reports tonight. The first one is the county bank balance. You know, the general fund is still pretty strong. We're optimistic that that'll hold up with some additional funds we get from these. Okay. We get some money in October. The other report is the property tax analysis at the end of June. 2018, we're at 97.44% collected, and leaves a balance of $163,000. And this is the time of year where they start looking at tax sales. And I had to run the tax commissioner down to find out what their plans are on that. But I'll give them reports and report back to you the next meeting. As to the tax sales they plan on having. That's usually when they collect the last big chunk before the big tax digest comes out. When they correctly sell their property, they come in and pay the taxes. So I'll get that to you at the next meeting. That's all I really have unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments to Bill? All right, moving on to the next item, report from our county administrator, Mr. Gay.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I got quite a few things here, but I'll try to do this pretty quickly. One of the things that I'd like to see us do is to maybe try to develop a social media policy. The social media, Facebook is a wonderful innovation, but sometimes it gets hijacked by people that want to spread propaganda and untruths, and they really don't have the courage to come and face the people that they run down. They can run them down behind the keyboard, but they don't have the courage to come and talk to people face to face, which I find is shameful at best. But sometimes in all of this firestorm that comes, because inevitably whatever you put up, somebody's gonna be against or make some outlandish thing and statement. Sometimes, the county employees get pulled into this. So I want to work, and I've talked to Lee about this. I want to work with him to develop a ordinance on social media for the county. And it will be sure that we do not restrict people's right to free speech, but that we do try to address some of the things that come up and give our employees and departments some guidance in how to address social media issues. So if the board is okay with that, I don't want to spin the wheels if we don't want to do that, but I think it would be something that we certainly need to look at going forward.
I'll just share a comment. ACCG has always emphasized that county address social media, but I think they meant it more as a policy. So what would be the difference
Yeah,
of
well, I said
policy
ordinance,
versus
but it's
an ordinance?
policy.
Okay, it's
But
part of the,
yeah.
a policy.
I had it for policy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Because
so-
an ordinance is something totally
Yeah, we
different.
don't, yeah, we're not
And
gonna.
so, once again, this has been encouraged by ACCG as well as GMA. It is what it is in the sense that social media and digital way of communicating stuff is just what it is as far as part of our society now. So there needs to be some form of guidelines. So that, and from my understanding, a lot of that information is also subject to open records.
Right.
So when
Sure
people
is.
do respond, and even text messages are now part of open records.
Yeah, and they're out there, I don't know how long, but they probably are out there forever, so people really need to think about what they say, what they do, etc.
Well, since it can be a part of your open records request, I personally think there needs to be some kind of policy in place that would reflect, so I'm sure you can look at what other cities and counties have put in place that will give you some guidelines.
Yeah, Beverly,
Not only that, just using it on county time.
county time.
I mean, it's one thing to get out there on your own time and use it, you still got to be careful about what you say.
Right.
But if it's not related to something we're putting on our county Facebook page or whatever,
Yeah.
then it really shouldn't happen
During your work hours.
during your work
And
hours.
utilizing county equipment to do that
Right,
with too is another issue.
You
Beverly,
can
we
block
did it printed.
Facebook on the computers, on
Yes.
county computers, you can do that, except the ones who have to put something on there,
That's right.
can be blocked.
So we have quite a few of, that are in place in other jurisdictions. My intention last night was to go back and highlight some of this, but it was about 9 o'clock before I got finished up, so I didn't have a chance. But if the board so desires, we'll put some drafts together and bring it back for, y'all's consideration.
I think it's a good idea because in the private sector, it exists for every company that I work for. There are those policies in place, and a lot of those exist because if you want to bash the company on social media, do you really need to be at that company in the first place? Is it something so bad that you have to ridicule that area? And if that's the case, then you can leave. And I think that it needs to be in place with government as well.
Okay. We'll bring that back and, present that and draft and let you guys look at it. But moving forward, we did receive our landfill report, for June 2019. As usual, everything is fine. There's no migration off site. I worked with our staff on, road closure reviews. That was a good meeting. Kathy led that discussion and it was great. We had our T-Splosh meeting where you guys met with the city. Attended the airport authority meeting and been very impressed with some of the things they're doing and moving forward. I met with a commercial industrial prospect, Kathy and I did, and I talked to Ms. Jane about it, and I think she's reached out to him as well. I did attend the IDA meeting, the Lake Meriwether meeting. I'll let you guys know, I think, Ms. Shirley, you're going to maybe talk about the back to school bash. Okay, or, but there's a back to school bash, and when we get to that, I'll give you a little bit more. It's on July the 27th, and it's down in Woodbury. Just a couple of things. We're going to need to set a date and have a call meeting on the T-Splosh referendum, somewhere around the first week of August. And it could be going into the early part of the second week, but we need to meet the deadline. And we held our meeting on July the 2nd, and we have to wait 30 days. So we're in the works. Nathan and I have been talking about the intergovernmental agreement, and I think pending legal review, those are ready to go, and we'll be getting those to the cities. So, like I say, I just want to be sure that that we get the timetables met. So we'll be calling once we have all those back, and trying to get a meeting set up for first week of August, okay? Other than that, it's been a busy year. So, we appreciate all the support for the business.
Thank you. All right, at this time, reports from county commissioners. Commissioner Reagan.
Actually, don't have anything.
Thank you. Commissioner Gray.
Unfortunately, I do have something. I just want to remind everyone that the country Christmas will be coming up November the 30th. That's the Saturday after the Thanksgiving. I've had positive, great responses from a lot of sponsors, and all the sponsor donation do go through the Chamber of Commerce. And also, we had our first committee meeting to come up with some guidelines. So this year, we promised to be bigger and better. And also, this year, we will be charging vendors a charge. And that's to help with the entertainment and other activities. So we are looking for a bigger, better activity this year. That's it.
Thank you. I'll just read the flyer that was presented to us about the Back to School Bash on July the 27th. The Manchester Marietta County Recreation Department Group and Team Woodbury has joined together and are excited to announce their Back to School Bash on July the 27th. It does not, okay, here it is. It's going to be at the Woodbury Municipal Complex from 8 a.m. until 4.
Oh, that's for donations.
That's for donations. Okay, it didn't have the time on this one. So, it's from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And so it has a list of different things and school supplies. So we encourage everyone to help and participate and support in any way that they can. It seemed like they just got out of school, now they're getting ready to go back. Okay. And that's it for me. I don't have anything else.
Have a copy of that. I would just like
Yeah.
that person on my Facebook page. It's something positive.
I understand. I will. That's the beauty of Facebook.
Okay.
Can be.
Vice Chair.
The only other thing I want to say is there's also a back to school bash on August the 3rd, which is one that's been done for probably 10 or 12 years now, and it's at the Manchester Marietta County Recreation Department in Manchester. And so that would be the following Saturday as well. I think it starts at 10 a.m. There's going to be vision and hearing screenings available there at no charge. You can do registration for pre-K and kindergarten there that day. I know the sheriff's office does something there that day as well, and then there will be shoes, undergarments given away, school supplies, backpacks, and of course school supplies as well. So
And that's the August
the 3rd.
August.
And Shirley just said that would be a great time. We might could set up a table for the census thing at both of these.
Sure did.
Because I know the one on August 3rd, they have vendors up, the Family Connection is a part of that as well. And they'll have tables set up there.
Sean does a lot of events for the animals. We can set those up, and we can put some brochures in all the offices too. Remind everybody.
And that's all I have.
All right, Commissioner McCoy.
Just like to echo what Theron and Bill have already said, and they've covered pretty much the airport, Lake Meriwether, and there is progress being made there. I'd like to devote just a few seconds here to something I knew nothing about until Monday night. And we were introduced to this out at the American Legion. Mayor Glover's already gone, she was there. There is a closed pod program. Alphonse, you may know about this, you may not. But undoubtedly, District 4 Public Health out of Peachtree City will come out to your organization and set up a pod, have an emergency pod that they can bring out in case of a disaster. This pod includes, and they will screen your individuals. It doesn't have to just be the membership. It can be anybody you're associated with, whether you're a nonprofit organization or a business or whatever, as long as you qualify. The only thing I see that you have to have is a qualified medical personnel on site to dispense this medicine. Now, and that can be part of your organization. It does not have to be a doctor. I think Brian, you're licensed by the state. I think you would probably qualify to do this. But I did not know this existed, but they even come out and inventory what your people need. And they will have that supply there if it's needed. Plus any kind of, if you were some kind of agent, chemical agent, whatever, they bring the antidotes and it's there for you to use if you see fit. So there'll be some brochures here. I think you've got a few more, don't you, Larry, that we can pass around. And the only other thing I was going to mention, and this is primarily if you've got veterans in your family, please give them this message. For 100 years, the American Legion has only accepted veterans that were serving during a period of war. That has just changed. It had to be changed by an act of Congress. If you were honorably discharged from the United States military from December the 7th, 1941 until present, you now qualify for the American Legion. Please pass that around because we need troops. Anyway, that's all I had. Thank you.
Buster, let me put on what you said about the Department of Health and all bringing those out. There are already specific areas within the county set by the Board of Health that I sit on that will be where those pods will come to in case of those disasters.
They said they had one right there in Marywood County, and it's the schools.
It is.
Okay.
But they have backups also, just in case it needs.
All right. So you know about this and aware of it. So any organization that wants to come can qualify for these?
They have very specific guidelines that they have to go by, and I can get you the info from the board.
That would be great.
Thank you for your report. At this time, do we have anything from our county attorney?
All of mine will be executive session, Madam Chair.
Moving further down, we're now at a time where the citizens we encourage you to come and share any comments that you may have. So if anyone would like to come and address the board, you can. For public comments, if you do come up, please sign your name and give us your address. And there is a 3-minute time limit in that discussion. So at any time there's anyone who would like to come and share anything with the board, have any public comments, you can do so at this time. Okay. If not, the next item, so after hearing what the attorney said earlier, there's apparently a need for an executive session.
Just for updates.
Just update?
Is there any for litigation?
Yeah, litigation, there's gonna be some personnel and, litigation.
Litigation, personnel.
No real estate.
I'm sorry.
Personnel.
And litigation. Okay. Future meetings and notices on July the 23rd, 2019 will be a work session at 4:30 here. And then also our regular scheduled meeting would be at 6 o'clock that evening.
I wanted to ask you guys about that work session, see whether or not you want to conduct that. That evening, you guys are gonna have an extended length meeting, which is going to include 4 public hearings on potential road closure requests, and so it's going to be a long evening. We don't mind. We'll be glad to put together whatever we need to do, but I just, it's going to be a long evening for you guys, and I didn't know whether you wanted to go from 4:30, have an hour and a half, and then go into your regular meeting and have another long session.
Since we have to do the T-Splosh somewhere around the first week in August, could we do a night meeting and do the work session and do the special call T-Splosh right after?
We could. Now, one of the things that we're going to want to do in August is maybe have a work session on the budget and things of that nature. And because I know y'all had asked that we please bring that forward and invite the public. And while they're always invited, this will be a special meeting where we encourage them to come. So we can do that. However y'all want to deal with it, we'd be glad to. I just want to bring y'all's attention the long evening y'all gonna have on that.
What is the work session? What do we have?
Generally, what I do with the work session is I just kind of plan one. I don't have one right now put together, but I will. I do want to do the work session for the budget I would also, we could include in that, that'll be after we set after the digest.
If we do the work session for the budget in August, is there time for anything to be changed? I mean, because my opinion, that's the whole purpose of,
You're not going to vote on approving it until the last meeting in September.
okay, I just want to make sure, that would be the purpose of the citizens coming. If they've got concerns, suggestions, or whatever, I don't want it to be just really no reason.
Right.
They've got.
Yeah, it would give us better than a month to be able to do that. So,
What's the
it's up to you guys, and y'all can.
I think wait until August.
So I said, what's the desire of the board?
I'm all for waiting.
Yeah.
So we'll just, cancel the work session for July the 23rd.
Okay.
Do we need to do a motion on that?
Probably.
Concur. So moved.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second to cancel the work session for July the 23rd. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
So at this time, we'd like to get a motion to go into executive session for litigation and personnel.
So moved.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second that we go into executive session, and it is 11:05. All in favor? All right, thank you.